Hello, I'm a guy that likes to talk about music, but I don't have anybody to talk about music with, so I do this instead. And today I'm going to talk a bit more about the song Layla from Derek and the Dominos slash Eric Clapton slash Dwayne Allman. Yeah, I was talking a bit about this song before. It's a song that just brings back memories to me whenever I hear it. So yeah, I've been having some coffee and just listening to Layla and thinking about things. But first, where did the name Layla, come from? I have never known anyone named Layla before. It's a nice name, though. It makes for a good song title, anyway. The name Layla is an Arabic and Persian name. Eric Clapton got it from a story he read. If I understand correctly, it's an old Arabic story, old Arabic folk story, and but then a Persian writer wrote it down in Persian, and that's the one that got translated into English, and that's the one that Clapton read. And the name Layla was also a word for night. It's an Arabic word for night. I thought that was interesting when I read that, for personal reasons. I remember listening to this song when I was on the ship, like I was talking before about the song Promises and how I used to listen to a song about, sailing out on a sea while sailing out on a sea. And I had that song on the same tape that had Layla. And I used to take these, walks around the flight deck and at night listening to tapes on my Walkman. And I often did it at night when, nobody else was outside. And plus the days could get pretty hot. Yeah, Persian Gulf is a hot place in the daytime. And it was really a nice experience. If you ever have the opportunity to listen to good music while on the ocean, take it because I'd look out at the ocean, and of course, I'd look up at the stars in the sky. And, the ocean is a very good place for stargazing. You see lots of stars, you see depth, and of course, you've got all that space to look at. Yeah, the ocean is a very good place for stargazing. And there are some songs that just, take me back to that. And Layla is one of those songs, especially the slow part at the end, the piano and slide guitar part. Wow, wow. Because it sounds so beautiful, and the stars in the ocean were beautiful. Yeah, it was a great experience. Yeah, Layla always brings back memories for me. Two different memories though, because Layla has two different parts. There's the opening part, na 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 na. That always makes me think of that Freedom Rock commercial that I was talking about before. Even today, when I hear that song come on, I often say, "Is that Freedom Rock, man?" And the coda, the slow piano part, that takes me back to being on the ocean at night. Also, by the way, Derek and the Dominos, on the same album they did Layla, had a song called Bell Bottom Blues. Now, I was not around at a time when people commonly wore bell bottoms, but I wore bell bottoms in the Navy. That's what we wore at the time. So, yeah, I had me some bell bottom blues to go along with my Navy blues. But anyway, the tape I had, I bought it in the Persian Gulf, in a city in the Persian Gulf. I spent some time in Kuwait, Bahrain, Oman, and United Arab Emirates. And they had good music stores in those cities. They sold tapes that were like bootleg tapes. They were like homemade tapes, maybe dubbed in a back room at one of those stores. I don't know. And I guess copyright laws had no effect there. Me being a big music fan, of course, I had fun going to those stores, looking at all the tapes and buying tapes, and there were so many different like homemade compilation tapes for each artist. So you could buy different tapes with different songs on it, and they had titles like, for Clapton, you had the best of Eric Clapton, and the very best of Eric Clapton, the very, very best of Eric Clapton, and the Eric Clapton collection, and the very best Eric Clapton collection, the best Eric Clapton collection, et cetera. And so, yeah, my Eric Clapton tape came from one of those stores, probably either Bahrain or the UAE, I think. It was a good tape, though, because along with Layla, it had both Promises and Let It Rain on it. And I liked those two songs. Let It Rain was good. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. And there are no official compilation albums that had both Promises and Let It Rain on it. So I'm happy I found that tape. So anyway, I think it's neat that a song that I enjoyed listening to in the Persian Gulf was based on an old Persian story because, also when I hear Layla, I often think about the Persian Gulf at night and looking up at the stars there. And that Layla was a word that meant night. So anyway, yeah, this has just been me having some fun talking about some music I like. Like he sings, what do you do when you get lonely? What do? I have some coffee and talk about classic rock. That's what I do. And now Layla was actually inspired by a real woman. The song Layla was inspired by a real woman. Her name was Patty. But I guess that's another story for another time. I need to get out of here and go get something done, I guess. Na 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 na.